Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station. I'm Tanya Omar, and some of the stories coming up in today's news: House ends in fiery blaze, March exceeds expectations, 25 years and funding still an issue for the service, and more. 25 years today on, and Nelson Marlborough Rescue Helicopter Service is celebrating its 25th anniversary by launching a brand new $10 million trust. The service is still suffering issues of finding funding to keep the service operational that beset it from its beginning back in 1991, with operational costs of $250,000 and annual costs of $100,000 the first year. Today, with a vast increase of call-outs, the current annual cost of the rescue helicopter service is between $1 and $1.2 million. The service is only looking at becoming busier as tourism in national parks, bike trails and adventure sports all become increasing drawcards to our region. Chrissy Small spoke to Paula Muddle from the service to find out about funding.
Paula Muddle, fundraising is always an issue for the helicopter rescue. How is it and what are you doing to get more money at the moment?
I've been in this role for 10 years and progressively every year it's got harder, and I think this is going to be our hardest year. It's a shame to look back today. You know, we're celebrating 25 years, an amazing service. We wouldn't be here without the support that we've got from the community. It's absolutely amazing. But we just don't have that secure funding coming in, like a naming rights sponsor like the other regions have. So today we've launched a trust deed. We're looking at setting up a $10 million endowment fund so people can actually give for the future. It's a legacy for the other generations coming forward. And then we can actually have some form of security.
Do you think that the central government could be doing more to help a service such as yours?
Of course they are, but we're in the same boat as a lot of charities, the likes of Hospice in St John, and the government will, we get about 30 cents in the dollar and the community stumps up with the rest.
And what about local government here? We've got Tasman, we've got Nelson City Councils, and look, we live in one of the best parts of the country, and of course it's a huge drawcard for tourism, but we see a lot of tourists getting help by your service. Do you think they're stumping up enough?
We do get a lot of good feedback, and we do get a lot of one-off donations from people that are from out of town. We have in the past had support from Nelson City Council, which was greatly appreciated, and do get the odd grant through the Tasman District grants from rates. We've got an ongoing arrangement with Marlborough District Council, who support us with about $10,000 a year, which it'd be fantastic to have every council supporting us.
Okay, so it's proven itself time and time again, 25 years. Now, if it weren't working, it wouldn't be here, would it?
No, look, just looking back, that there was a group of like-minded people that said, hey, listen, we need the service, and the lives that they've saved over the years. I just looked on Facebook and someone had obviously read the 25 years story, and they just said, back in 1991, before our service, she was in some carnage, and she said if they could have had it then. But, everyone it's taken for granted now. It's here 24/7 available, but we just need that ongoing support.
Right, okay, so how can the public get behind you now?
Obviously, we need donations day to day for operations, but if there's anything extra or any businesses just wanted to do a one-off legacy for our endowment fund, that's just going to trickle away in the background, and we'll look back in 10 years and say, wow, if we didn't start it, we'd still be doing hand to mouth. We've got to do something for the future.
We're a big fishing area. We've got some big fishing companies here. It would be lovely to see them come on board. Are they on board already?
We, from time to time when we need certain pieces of equipment, they've come on board. But it would be fantastic if they saw, this great opportunity to give some money for the future.
Well, Paula, look, let's hope people can dig deep, and let's hope some businesses perk up their ears and go, oh, we could perhaps help out here. And, of course, you're looking for a naming rights sponsor.
We always will be, but I just don't think there's no one who can leverage off it. No one's going to sell any more ice cream or fish or whatever. So in the interim, the idea of setting up this endowment fund is to close that gap that we've got.
I also spoke to intensive care medic known as Ernie, who was one of the crew involved in many of the rescues, about his time with the service. Okay, so 25 years, Ernie. You don't look like you're old enough to have been here 25 years.
Oh, I started when I was 2. No, I haven't been with the service for 25. Not in Nelson for 25 years. I've only been here for 4. I've been in the industry for 20, but 25 years doesn't take long to whistle by.
Can you tell us a bit of the history with the Nelson Marlborough Rescue Helicopter?
Yeah, it pretty much starts like all the rescue helicopters around the country. They start from very small beginnings, getting a group of people together as trustees, getting some funding, getting an operator to have the machine, getting some crew to jump on. In the early days, generally volunteers. That's sort of dropped right off now, where most of the helicopters through the country, and including here, are paid staff. So the difference between 1991 and now is vastly different. Still doing essentially the same job, still going to accidents and trauma injuries and medicals and bits and pieces. That side of it doesn't change hugely. The technology does, the response times do, and the level of care does.
What would happen if we didn't have the rescue helicopter?
So people aren't suddenly going to curl up and die because there isn't a helicopter, but what will happen is the level of care will drop to a degree, and of course the ongoing treatment for those people. So they're not necessarily going to get to medical care straight away. So example would be, say, someone in the Sounds who, if you don't have a helicopter, the only way to get them out is by boat, which could take anywhere from an hour to 3 hours or maybe more, then road transport to hospital to then do their thing. Whereas with helicopter response, you could pick someone up with a cardiac event and basically have them either into Nelson or through to Wellington within an hour of them starting into the cath lab, and their recovery rate is vastly improved, which cuts the health costs down, gives them a better recovery. So if you took that service away, you're going to start messing with a lot of people's survival rates, essentially, yeah.
What stories have touched your heart in particular?
What stories have touched my heart? In Nelson? Yeah, that's always a hard one. Because I don't mean to sound blunt with it, but you do dismiss the jobs after you've finished them. You don't sort of remember every mission that you've been on. There are certain ones that you do remember, and usually it's because there's been a very good outcome, or you realise that without the service or us being there that they would have died, or just that you pulled a job off really slickly, and as a crew you did something that's quite sort of high end, maybe a difficult winch off a rock face or something. You've managed to get these people off in such a manner that it looks really easily, but we've actually been working at full capacity. So they are the sort of things that stick in your head more so than anything else.
So you guys are kind of our local heroes because you put your lives at risk as well, saving other people. What would you say to that?
I would say what I've always said is that I don't believe people like myself and guys in our industry, we don't view ourselves as heroes. What I think we tend to do is we view ourselves as we're just paid professionals. We're there to do a job, and we need to do it properly with the best training that we've had to deliver a really good service to help people out. That's what we're doing. The glamorous side of zooming around in a helicopter with your dark visor down and waving nonchalantly to the fans below is far removed from the reality of what we do. I don't really believe we see ourselves in that capacity. The public may do, and if they do, that's fine. But I certainly don't walk around thinking that I'm any better than anybody else.
And, it'd be great to have a sponsor come on board for naming rights, and often it's, well, as long as the business can get something back for it. What would you say to that?
Well, absolutely. So because we're not completely funded either by government or ACC or health boards, then we do need sponsorship. And that's quite a hard one to get through to a lot of people as to why we need it, for our gear, for our training. Are they going to get something out of it? I don't know. I've never delved into that side of it. I've always purely been operational. It's good to have good sponsorship and have someone associated with you, because I think that for them, it's if they feel passionate about it, they can see the work we're doing and feel good that their company or their business are putting something back into the community that's actually helping, rather than just saying, oh, well, here's $5 million, go and spend it on ice cream and have a good time. It's actually being used to increase, so that things such as night vision goggles, the gear we wear, the new standards that we have to meet for medical things, all those sorts of things cost, and that's where your sponsorship and your major sponsor would come in to help provide that sort of carry on. New equipment. We put a ventilator into the machine last year, I think it was. I forget what the price was. It was about $30,000 off the top of my head, or something around that vicinity. If you've had a major head injury, and it doesn't need to be a motor vehicle accident, you can fall off a ladder, that's going to save your life. So that equipment doesn't come cheap, and that's where the sponsorship really steps up to the mark.
And Ernie, we've got some photographs here of the history of the helicopter.
Not mine, because I've only, like I said, I was only one when it started. Just some earlier ones.
I'll hold that for you if you like.
So originally they had squirrel helicopters capable of carrying only one patient. And as I said, usually a volunteer crew. That doesn't mean that the standard was any less. They just didn't do it full time, so there was always a delay in them getting down and getting airborne, whereas we're airborne now in sort of 5 or 6 minutes. But yeah, just to give a bit of an idea, we got these from one of our guys who was in the very early days of the helicopter. And again, not too dissimilar from the colour scheme we've currently got. This is one of the earliest squirrels as well, and another bigger one of it.
Wonderful, thanks Ernie.
No problem, thank you.
After Mainland TV and Dr. Catherine Strong's research team's inquiries 2 weeks ago, Mayor Rachel Reese concedes a return to more open wording in the Council Code of Conduct is worth debating, and she will include this in her mayoral report early next month. Dr. Strong's research paper, Eroding Media Freedom, New Zealand Local Government's Dangerous Paragraph, has raised concerns over a controversial paragraph inserted into Council's Code of Conduct, which could be seen to gag city councillors. Nelson City Council adopted the paragraph by modelling on an example from the Whakatane District Council. Mayor Reese commented that the inquiry has been useful and has highlighted a matter that she will take back to Council to give them the choice to amend this aspect of the code. She says the code needs to support a constructive culture based on respect for each other, the staff and the institution of Council, but it must also respect the value of free speech and public debate. The driver of an Apollo camper van has sent out a request for witnesses. The van rolled on the roundabout corner of the intersection of the Richmond Deviation and Whakatu Drive soon after 9 a.m. last Wednesday morning while going around the roundabout. The driver lost control, leaving the vehicle to land on its side in a small paddock used to hold sheep for the meatworks. No injuries resulted, and the driver received a warning for careless driving. The company who insured the van has taken $1,000 of the driver's money to pay for comprehensive insurance, but have said they don't pay out for single vehicle accidents. So it seems that if he hits a rock or a fence or a possum or falls into a ditch or rolls down a hill or tips over or any other scenario that doesn't include another vehicle, he is not covered. The driver is taking it to fair go because he feels that he's been ripped off. He has been left wondering how they could say that comprehensive insurance is worth $1,000. He believes that they're taking tourists for a ride financially and are giving travellers to New Zealand a bad image of the country. The March for Moko on the weekend proved that Nelson people were as concerned as bigger centres about the violence towards the most vulnerable in our communities, the children. There was a great outpouring of emotion from the 600-strong crowd who turned out to take a stand against child abuse and neglect. The event had only been put together over the past week as part of a national grassroots response to the brutal death of Moko Rangitoherere at the hands of his caregivers. Parents, children and grandparents all took part in the march to show their support for stopping violence towards children, with touching tributes paid in front of the gathering in 1903 Square, which included a minute's silence before the marchers walked around a city block to arrive at the top of Trafalgar Street to place flowers for Moko on the church steps. The house that has been the apple of many a camera eye met its end Sunday morning on its Appleby farmland by a controlled demolition fire. The public were not informed of the actual timing the demolition would take place due to negative feedback received from people wanting the house to stay intact. The owner, Mr. Robert Morrison, said it wasn't an easy decision, but the land was needed for vegetable production. Four-piece pop group Motion from Garran College took out the Nelson Regional Final of Smokefree Rockquest in front of a sellout crowd of 500 at the Theatre Royal on Friday night. Motion band members are Sotaro Kawada on drums, Caleb Binns on keyboard and Carl Gillen guitar and vocals. Organisers said Motion's refined sound and hook-driven songs set them apart from the 11 other acts vying for the title. Frontman Kieran O'Connor said the key was in shifting the focus away from winning, saying they spent a lot of time polishing and critiquing the songs. It's music that O'Connor describes as clean and easy listening. Seven-piece hip-hop crew, The Horde from Golden Bay High School, placed second. These two bands win musical gear from associate sponsor New Zealand Rock Shops and their suppliers. They now submit 15 minutes of their best material for selection as national finalists, along with Cam Dawson from Garran College and Tegan Fisher from Waimea College, who won the Nelson Solo Duo section announced at the regional heats last week. Founder and director Glenn Common said from here on in, the Nelson finalists would have to work hard to make the most of the opportunity Smokefree Rockquest offered. They now have to submit video footage of their original music that will be judged in August as we lead up to the national final, he said. This process not only demands musical ability and creativity, they also learn to work together as a group and to develop the organisation and promotional skills they'll need if they're going to make it on the Kiwi music scene. The full list of Friday's awards are: First Band, Motion, Garran College; Second Band, The Horde, Golden Bay High School; Third Band, Outlet, Nelson College. Solo Duo, first announced at Heats, Cam Dawson, Garran College. Solo Duo, second, announced at the Heats, Tegan Fisher, Waimea College. APRA Lyric Award Fly High by Liam Paul from Slouch Couch, Nayland College. Lowdown Best Song, Tetra, Nelson College for Girls Smokefree Vocals Award, Summer Simmons from Acoustic Knot, Waimea College. Dominate Style Award, The Horde, Golden Bay High School. People's Choice, voted by text, were Coastal from Nelson College for Girls. The Mains Musicianship Award with the opportunity to win the $4,500 Music and Audio Institute of New Zealand Scholarship to be announced at the national final went to Case Walker from the Pad Brits of Motueka High School. The regional event for Smokefree Rockquest National is on Saturday, September the 24th. We'll leave you now with a performance of the winning band Motion from the Smokefree Rockquest Heats. After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics, toys,
sound systems, cables, and much, much more. JCar.
120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
Hi there, Julian Toon, Waimea Telecommunications. We install and maintain domestic and commercial satellite TV, UHF Freeview and Mainland TV installations in the Nelson, Tasman regions. We specialise in Panasonic telephone systems and provide communications Wi-Fi, IT and wiring for internet, fibre, computers and DSL systems. At Waimea Telecommunications, we also provide specialist electronic systems for features such as a security camera you can watch on your TV, visitor alert systems and much more. Improve your security and communication and entertainment today. Call us on Waimea Telecommunications on 021 472297, ytel.co.nz.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
Sit and Be Fit is on at the Victory Community Centre Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. at the Victory Community Church, 238 Upper Vanguard Street. School terms only. Fun while you get fitter, work at your level. For more information, please contact Shirley on 547 1433 or 021 121 8023.
Victory 60 Plus is on Tuesdays at 1:30 through to 3:30 p.m. at 238 Upper Vanguard Street. You can join in for cards, games and a cuppa.
On behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us, and we'll bring you the latest news and events from around the region again tomorrow.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
G'day, it's your old mate the Mad Butcher and you're watching Mainland TV.
Nelson Tire Center. Great prices, great service. Buy your own Bryford trailer. All types, all sizes. See Colin Douglas for your tires and batteries.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.
Hi, I'm John Crouch. I'm Crafer Crouch Construction. We're general contractors here. We specialise in drainage, earthworks, concrete, gravel supplies. We have our own mobile crushers. So for all your contract requirements, call us on 5783 475 Blenheim or in 5736 119 Picton.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.